Yeah, and some people sort of like, they go to work and they ain't enough sleep and they really want to go to sleep.
Of course. Yeah.
They can't, they got to work.
Especially if you're working a long shift too, like me, I work 12.5 hour shifts, as you know. So like, if you're going to work like on an hour and a half, 2 hours sleep, it's not easy, mate. You might get through most of the day, but then that evening, when it gets to that last part of the evening, you know what I mean, from like 6 o'clock onwards, 6 o'clock onwards, you just have to shut down, if you see what I mean. You're literally just counting down so you can leave, if you see what I mean, you know. Obviously still doing your job, but you're literally, you know, counting every minute because you're knackered, you know, you just, want to get home and get into bed, crawl into bed, you know.
I mean, I can remember myself, sort of working, doing some kind of like hard job, whatever, like removals and things,
Yeah.
And being married, having young children, and whatever. And because I couldn't sleep for some reason, one night, then I had to get up and do another removal the next day.
Yeah.
I mean, Right, and then you come home, and then you still got to put your kids to bed and all this, whatever, do you know what I mean? And it's really a struggle,
it's
sometimes it can be, if you're not, I think like when you're working really, you've got to be focused completely, really, with yourself, right? And, make sure you're up together all the time,
You've got to have a good routine and everything else.
Yeah, and, just make sure trying to get a good sleep every night, do you know what I mean? Sleep's very important, and it's important to have a comfortable sleep too, a comfortable bed, comfortable pillow.
Yes.
I mean, a nice pillow, or a soft pillow, will make me, say you had a soft pillow, and I didn't, that would make you a lot richer than I am
in a way,
in life,
Yeah.
That's so. If you've got a nice pillow to sleep on, it kind of makes you quite wealthy.
Yeah.
You think about it,
If you've got a nice bed, nice, comfortable,
Well, you can carry a pillow around with you, couldn't you, to put your head on? Do you know what I mean? A really good one. Do you know what I mean? A good quality one.
Yeah.
And you've got to look after yourself. Do you know what I mean? And if you're looking after yourself, your comfort, which is very important in life, I think.
Yeah.
You're looking after your sleep, which I feel that I do always have a good sleep, and I think there's a lot of people that don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, and I think that affects your mental health.
Yeah. Oh, it can do. Can do.
I don't think it can do. I think it does.
Oh yeah.
And I think like even people working nights, right?
Yeah.
I think it's unnatural.
Yeah.
And it kind of affects your mental health. I remember working 3 years when my daughter was first born. I was working 3 years nights, and I think, it was kind of making me ill, mentally, a whole lot of it, because I just don't know what it was, but I think that's one reason why we separated, that was the,
Yeah.
I can't explain it, but when I started nights.
What, it became like overwhelming kind of thing?
I can't remember those years in a funny way, because I was working nights, I was coming home, going to bed about 7 o'clock in the morning, and my wife was taking the children to school, whatever. Then she'd come home and wake me up and want me to go shopping with her, whatever. And it's just so hard, whatever. But it's not just that, it just, you didn't see any daylight much, and it just made you feel unbalanced with life.
Yeah, understandably, yeah.
If you're with me, that's what I felt anyway. I feel like I kind of regret working nights, just been that way,
Yeah.
I think it's unnatural.
Yeah.
Yeah. But some people might do it all their lives,
Yeah. Some people just have to do it because, like, especially in this day and age, where you got like people who are like married or they're together and they got kids or whatever the case may be. Sometimes in order to make things work so that they both can work and they can both have 2 salaries, like 2 incomes coming into the household, sometimes one of them will work nights and one will work days in order to, so you've got two incomes coming in, and then one of you is always around to look after the kids, if you see what I mean, to make sure that, they, take them to school, pick them up, they're, looked after, etc. So yeah. It's hard, but it's about balance. That's what I would always say to people. Everything always comes down down to balance. I find for me personally, I keep a routine, if you see what I mean. Like, And I stick to my routine as well. I don't try to deviate or, you know, I just stay focused on what I'm, you know, like I'm used to, you know. So, yeah, I try and stay on top of everything, you know, especially like you said, because obviously I work full time, I work, you know, 40, 50 hours a week, got the kids and, you know, wife and etc.
I think all this,
you know?
like 40 hour,
So,
50 hour a week stuff,
yeah,
is, you know,
yeah.
evolved in the last 100 years, do you know what I mean?
Mm.
You know, and people didn't have a 9 to 5 job a long time ago, do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like, people, like I said, the sun used to go down and it was time to go to bed.
Yeah.
You know, there was no electric in those days, do you know what I mean?
Mm.
You know, you can imagine, like, if, like I said, we did talk about electric a lot, I know, but it's interesting, do you know what I mean?
Mm.
You know, if the electric completely went away from the world today for some reason, you know, say a spaceship come along to call our electric away or something, you know, or something.
Well,
you know,
they have said recently on numerous occasions, and I'm not speculating, I have seen 3 or 4 different articles in the space of the last 6 to 9 months that said in 2023 the UK could face blackouts occasionally. Not permanently, but occasionally there could be a few blackouts here and there, potentially. That's what they say.
So, yeah,
you know,
I just wait for things to happen, but you know, like I say, we all are relying on electricity really today. You know, big time. You know, and you can imagine, like, if it went blank tomorrow, went off everywhere, that would change the world. Big time.
Oh, completely. Imagine, mate, the whole world today. Think about all the business, like we were talking about even last time. Think about all the business transactions and all the business deals and meetings and conferences and online shit that happens every single day of life on a global scale. Imagine if that just stopped.
That's right, and not just that, just machinery.
Yeah.
All the machines.
That's what I mean.
Boom.
Yeah.
Stop. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, no more. No more newspapers.
It would
literally
turn into something like almost like an apocalypse type film, where you'd have people fighting and struggling for food, you know what I mean, and doing all sorts of things to, you know, get food and and to keep warm and to.
I don't know. You know, I think we'll be all in the same boat.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if the electric did go. You know, and you can, like I say, 500 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, like, they weren't worried about electric going because it wasn't invented.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It wasn't existing, do you know what I mean?
But today we still got natural renewable energy sources, like solar panels, wind turbines and this stuff like this. So, essentially we'd always have electric, you know? Even if the electric, let's say the electrical grids tomorrow went down, we would still have electric in some way, shape or form. Some people will.
Exactly, some.
Few.
Very few.
But, you know.
Very few.
So,
you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, if I say go back in time 500 years ago again,
yeah.
You know, very few people had candles in those days. You know, nobody had electric, do you know what I mean? But the people that did have candles had money.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They couldn't afford to buy them. You know, but now, you know, candles are still, you can still buy them today, you know, so people still buy them, don't they? You know, but electric's coming now, you know, and it's kind of made our reality a 24-hour place, you know, 24-hour city, in the kind of way where, you know, like I say, if electric went, you know, a lot of people, I mean, I would be quite disappointed, you know what I mean, in a kind of way, you know, and it was gone for good, if you see what I mean. You know, it would devastate my life a bit, you know, because I mean, I wouldn't use my camera.
But we're completely reliant on electricity, aren't we? To keep, like, to cook our food, to wash our clothes, charge our phones.
You know,
if you want to take, like, especially in cold countries, if you want to take a hot shower, a hot bath, you need electric to heat your water. You know, you need electricity for your internet. You know, to go online. You know, for everything. You know, it's
I think
it's endless. Your fridge.
I think 500 years ago, people were just having cold baths or cold, you know.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
They didn't warm up the water.
Yeah.
You know.
Or what they would do is have like we were talking about last time, where they would get the bath and put it close to the fire.
Yeah.
the bath would be
That's right.
as close as possible to the fire. So
they used to have these pans.
even though you'd be cold in a cold bath, you'd be close to the fire, so it would keep you a bit, try to keep you a bit warmer, kind of thing, you know.
They used to have these copper pans, didn't they?
Yes.
Remember, with long handles.
Yeah.
And they used to put them on fires, and the reason why they're made of copper or something, because they could wipe the dust off of it.
Okay.
With any other metal, it was, you know, and because you'd rub the sheet with it, the rich man's sheet.
Okay.
You know, to warm it up before the rich man goes into the king or something, you know, whatever.
Ah, I see, yeah.
To warm the bed up. All the maids would go in there, you know, like 6 of them sometimes, you know, and warm the bed up with all their pans.
Yeah.
You know, before the rich person would go in the bed.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever. You know, but I think that was probably 17th century actually, do you know what I mean? Not 15th.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
You know, like, so you go back in time, you know, we had cold water, do you know what I mean? And we had to have, you know, like, put our bodies in rivers maybe and things like that, do you know what I mean? Yeah. You know, I mean, the Romans had baths, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
Know, they're the ones that invented all the plumbing.
Yeah.
Apparently, you know, like they used to build all the rivers and things, you know, and make the river water go into their homes.
Okay, yeah.
And fill their baths up. And apparently they used to heat their water up too.
Okay, yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Yeah.
But they used to heat their...
They had some kind of mechanism to...
I don't know how.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, I'd have to sort of like research that one time, you know. But yeah, they used to heat the water up, you know, and have warm baths, you know. Whether that's true or not, you know.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
But there's a city called Bath not far away, you know, and that was a Roman city.
Yes.
And they called it Bath because
yeah.
they made a big bath there, basically, you know, a big swimming pool for everyone to go in.
Yeah.
You know, lots of people. They used to bath together, the Romans, you know.
Yeah. Very
Which those people like bathing in private, really, don't they, today? You know?
Of course, yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah, generally speaking, you know. You know, you and your missus might take a bath every once in a blue moon, you know what I mean? Have a bath together once in a blue moon, you know. You know, bit of romance, but apart from that, generally speaking, like you said, you know, 95% of the time, you know, taking a shower or bath by yourself, you know.
But yeah.
I prefer that though, personally, you know. Especially if I'm taking a bath, I don't really mind so much, but if I'm taking a shower, I like to be, if you see what I mean, you know. I could just get on with it, just, you know, get in and wash and get out, and not be distracted, if you see what I mean, you know, if you get on so, you know.
Nowadays, I normally go sleep in the bath.
Yeah.
I do, you know. But there you go.
Yeah.
You know, do 2 things at once in a funny way, you know. But you know, I mean, like I was saying earlier on, I love sleeping, you know, because it gets, you know, it's like having a holiday away from reality in a kind of way, isn't it? You know, escaping from it for a minute, you know, having a break, having a holiday, you know, get away, you know, and you know, and you're in a nice warm place, aren't you?
Well, hopefully.
You know, well,
hopefully.
not you know, not necessarily.
Yeah.
I say, you're not going to have very good sleep if you're outside and it's raining.
Of course,
you
yeah.
know, it's cold
freezing cold. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you've got to be warm, haven't you?
Yeah.
You know?
It does help. It does help.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why cats really sort of like land on your laps, really, because they're quite clever, they're quite intelligent. They think, keep myself warm.
Yeah, they pick up from our body heat as well.
Yeah, I'm going to keep myself warm. So where in this house is the best place to sit? I think I'll sit on someone's lap.
Yeah.
Keep myself warm. You know, they're intelligent animals.
Yeah, not silly.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I wish I was a cat. You know, no work. You know, you get people working for you.
In a way,
you know, getting your food for you, you know, putting it on a plate for you, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and then you just go to bed, and then you wake up, and it's supper time again, you know.
Go out if you feel like it. If you don't want to go out, you stay in, you know.
Pop out for the garden for a walk.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It's lovely, you know. It must be amazing life, really. But to be honest with you, I wouldn't want to be a cat simply because they don't live very long.
Yeah, well, 20 years if you're lucky.
Oh, no, not that long.
Yeah, I've had. My nan, she had a cat that lived to 22. A big fat cat. You know?
Well, then they lived like 16 years.
And I think they can live up to about 20, I think. But my nan did have a cat that lived to 22. You know, they couldn't believe it. Jerry, you know, Jerry, after my nan died, Jerry had a cat and then it eventually died, you know. But it died at 22.
That's amazing.
It was a big, fat, chubby cat as well. I can't remember the name of it, you know. But it lived a long, long time.
You know, like, I know lots about cats, you know, things, you know, there's quite a lot of different, like lions, you know, they're the biggest cats, alright? You know, I'm just sort of wondering how long they live for, actually, you know, like, I'm going to have to find out.
Yeah, what the lifespan is of
you know, and I think, like, again, like, a big cat, like a lion, is not much different to a little cat. In behaviour, they sleep a lot.
Yeah.
You know, every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean. You know, but it's interesting anyway, where, you know, like, living things, like lions, for instance, might have a different lifespan to a leopard, or a leopard to a tiger. Do you know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
You know, it's all interesting stuff. You know, they do have slightly different behaviours and sleep patterns and things. You know, but it's just something worth studying. I think that's all.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
You know, sleep is a very interesting subject, if you ask me. You know, people don't really talk about it much, do they?
Yeah, it's true. I think it's like we said, because like we said, like at the beginning of the first episode, like I think it's more so a lot of people don't really understand sleep or take the time out
to think about it.
To think about it. They're just we accept it for what it is, and we sleep when we need to. Whenever we feel that need to have to sleep or rest, and you know get to that point where you can't fight it anymore, you go and lay down, don't you? You know, you can only fight it for so long.
Yeah, you can't stand up all day.
No. I'm the type of person that I fight it for a long time, but usually when it gets a certain time at night, it just hits me. You know, I can fight it for a certain amount of time, but then it just, you know, KO. You know, whether you like it or not, you just, you know, you're gone. You know.
I mean, like, when you think about it, if you went to bed, okay, and you went in your bedroom might have gold walls, if you see what I mean, yeah, and diamonds all the way around it, whatever, you know. But then you go to sleep, you close your eyes, yeah, and you go unconscious, then you wake up, and then you go out that room.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like you might go to sleep in a prison, really, you know. It's no different, really, what room you sleep in. You know what I mean? It don't matter where you are, where you sleep, as long as you're comfortable.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, we're kind of blind when we're asleep and deaf. You know what I mean? You know, and it's like when we go to sleep, all our belongings go away as well. Do you know what I mean? It's like we don't own anything anymore, in a kind of way, you know. And then when we wake up, we remember.
Yeah.
You know, we become conscious, you know, and we remember who we are. You know, our memory comes awake, basically. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, you know, I mean, it takes me a few hours to wake up, to be honest with you, these days. You know, because I'm getting a bit older now, you know, like I'm creeping up to 60, you know. It sort of like takes me 2 hours to sort of like figure out who I am. No, don't. I'm only joking.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
No, but no. Just,
yeah.
I don't know.
Just takes you that little bit longer to kind of come to and kind of get your head together and get going and.
Well, you know, like yeah.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say I'm half your age, mate, and you know, I struggle sometimes, so I can only imagine when it, you know, in another 25 years' time, you know, what you know, it must be, you know.
Well.
Life slowly gets harder as we get older.
But again, you think like a baby, they're all sleeping all the time almost.
Yeah.
You know, newborn days.
Yeah.
You know, almost. Well, they're rarely awake.
Yeah.
You know, they might open their eyes now and again. You know, in the first 2 weeks. You know.
Yeah.
And then slowly in that year, the first year, they become more awake.
Oh, of course, yeah.
You know, and they you know, their memories starting to grow, you know, from there, I think, you know.
Yeah.
And they go to sleep, you know, and it's like you look at a 7-year-old, you know, you put them to bed about 7 o'clock, don't you? Do you know what I mean? And they have good sleep, good 10-hour sleep, don't they? You know.
Yeah.
And, you know, then when you get a bit older, you don't need so much sleep. Like you, 5 hours sleep now, do you know what I mean? Whatever, you know.
Well, I do need. Sometimes Don't get me wrong, sometimes I do struggle, mate. Like most of the time, because I'm used to it, I've been doing it for a long time, I'm kind of used to it, you know. But sometimes I do struggle, mate. I get the odd day where I think, God, like I could really use some sleep, if you see what I mean, you know. But you keep going. You just, you know, you just keep going, if you see what I mean. It's kind of, you kind of get to a point where you kind of feel like you're like on autopilot a little bit, if you see what I mean. Like you know, yeah, you know, it is what it is, and you keep going, you know.
Sometimes I'm more tired some days than others, you know.
Of course, yeah.
But today I've been pretty tired today, do you know what I mean? I don't know why. But, you know, I mean, I love having the time and the freedom to sleep when I want, you know, which a lot of people haven't got, you know. You know, I feel quite lucky that I can, you know, I can wake up tomorrow, make a cup of tea and go back to bed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You know, not many people can do that.
Yeah, true.
You know, but I don't want to do that. Do you know what I mean? I find that a waste of time.
Yeah.
You know, I find actually sleeping can be a waste of time. You know, it's a waste of learning, really, isn't it? You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think like when we're awake, you can't learn anything when you're asleep, can you? Really, can you? I mean, can you?
Not really.
I don't think you can.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, sleep is important. That's for sure. You know. You know, when I'm going to bed, you know, I've got a smile on my face. Do you know what I mean? Because you know, I'm warm. I'm not being disturbed. Do you know what I mean? By anything, you know. And I go into a kind of paradise. You know, I find like sleep, the feeling of sleep, is like a paradise feeling. Quite a beautiful feeling, if you ask me, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know, I can't explain it, but you kind of like you blank off, don't you? You know, and go into sort of a, you know, we might, you know, go to a different world, you know, like a different planet. You know, it's quite strange, really, isn't it? You know, that we switch off basically once every day.
Yeah.
So I don't really. You know, it's not much. It's like temporary dying, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? You know, and people are scared of dying a little bit. You know, and they fear it quite a lot. But when you think we're going to sleep every night, you know, and actually dying, you know, and like I say, when you do go to sleep, you don't know whether you're going to wake up or not, do you?
Yeah.
You know.
You hope and pray you do.
Well.
Of course, yeah. But you don't know.
All you can do is go to sleep.
Yeah.
And you know, one day. You won't wake up, do you know what I mean? Most people do start dying in their sleep, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, my uncle,
you know,
I remember my uncle did, yeah, that's it.
Most people do die in their sleep, you know what I mean? That's the way I want to go,
yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't
peacefully.
I don't want to die when I'm awake, when I'm aware of it.
Well, yeah, you'd want to go in your sleep, mate. That's the most peaceful way you could kind of go, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, that's what they say, innit? Oh, he went peacefully in his sleep, you know, and all that, you know. He was asleep whilst he died, do you know what I mean? You know, but... You know, yeah, I thought then.
Yeah. But sleep is very, very important. Like you were saying earlier as well, you know, sleep is sleep is almost like a part of a healthy diet. If that makes sense, if you get what I'm trying to say, you know. Sleep is a part of that, you know, not only is making sure you eat the right foods, you know, drinking enough, making sure you're hydrated, you know, with water and drinking the right things. And getting exercise and sunlight and all these kind of things. Sleep is also up there with, you know, the top 5-6 things that are very, very important in terms of like looking after your health, you know. And apparently, I was watching something as well the other day, so don't quote me on it because I was just watching something. I didn't watch the whole thing, but they said apparently for men, if men don't get enough sleep, apparently that it can contribute to their testosterone levels dropping. Apparently if men don't get enough sleep, their testosterone levels can drop and decrease over time, if you see what I mean, as they get older, if you see what I mean. You know, it can have an impact on that, apparently, so they say. But yeah, lack of sleep can affect you in all sorts of ways, mate. Sometimes people don't function properly and they end up having more mistakes, or you know, they might be driving a car or a van, or you know, all sorts of things. You know, all these, so many things to be taken into consideration when it comes to sleep. You know, because you know, you've got lots of people out here that might be, you know, sleep deprived and all sorts of shit, and might be driving, doing long journeys every day. You know what I mean?
It's very dangerous, isn't it?
It's dangerous.
If you've got steps.
Yeah.
Driving, do you know what I mean?
So that's what I'm saying. Like you got sometimes, you know,
it's bad. I mean, that's as bad as drinking, really. If you don't have enough sleep, it's as bad as having a drink.
Yeah, it's scary. It's scary. It's the thing, you know. There's lots of people out there, mate. Because if you think about it, like we always say, right, mate, especially in today's environment, like today's day and age, like there's so much societal pressure on people. That so like especially not so much in the UK, but a little bit in the UK, but more so like let's use America, say for example. You've got people that are working 3 or 4 jobs in a week, 60, 70, 80 hours a week, sleeping 3, 4 hours a night, and working 3 or 4 jobs a week just trying to survive.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, it's understandable that eventually someone would crack, if you see what I mean, for lack of a better word. Under that, you know, it's you could understand, you know, you wouldn't be surprised if someone had a meltdown, you know, working 70, 80 hours a week, 3, 4 jobs a week, every, you know, 20, 25 years in a row, you know, just trying to survive. That'd drive anyone insane, you know, if you're not careful, if you're not strong mentally, you know. So, yeah. Got to look after yourself, it's important, you know. Sleep, you know, is not only good for the physical, but for the mental. You know, your brain has to have a rest.
I think when I had a family,
yeah,
when they were young and all that, you know, I think I was sort of struggling with sleep then, you know. But today I don't, you know.
Yeah.
You know, like, so I realise how important sleep is actually, you know. I don't think you do when you're younger.
Yeah.
In a kind of way. Nobody teaches you, do they?
No.
Again, you know, it's a very interesting subject that, like, well, at my education, no teachers ever talked about sleep. Do you know what I mean? As a subject, you know, and I think it is quite an interesting subject.
It is, yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
No, it's not often talked about, I suppose, do you know what I mean?
It's not, no. I remember when my son was first born, mate, that was one of the most difficult periods of my life, mate, I tell you what, because obviously I'd become a father for the first time. Me and my wife had just moved into our first house together, just had our first child, but my son was waking up every hour, literally, for the first 9 to 12 months. It was a long time, 9 to 12 months, almost a year I think it was in total, roughly I think. He was waking up every hour and a half at night. And when you're working and you're trying to wake up in the night as well to help out your wife, because obviously you know she's at home with the baby all day long when you're at work, so you're trying to get up in the night too to help her out a bit too, because you know she still has to be up, you know what I mean? She still needs a break too, you know.
Why is he waking up that much?
He was just a very hungry child, and he would literally wake up and want to feed every hour and a half.
Wow.
If you see what I mean, like, he was just, he used to wake up very frequently. He'd go back off to sleep, but obviously once you're awake, if you've been awake for a good half an hour while he's feeding, whatever, you know, or 45 minutes, an hour before he goes back off to bed, then you know you've been awake for an hour, and then you've got to then try to go back to sleep. And if you can't go back to sleep, you know. And you've not only just gone to bed, then it's like, oh, that was almost for like 12 months. It was worse back then, but thankfully I was younger, so it was a little bit easier because I was younger. It was copable because I was a bit younger. That helped. But I was getting like 2 hours sleep, 3 hours sleep, and then going to working 50 hours a week. If you see what I mean, you know, 12.5-hour shifts. That was hard. That was really hard.
Going around in circles as well.
Yeah, that was difficult, you know, and obviously, you know, it's not easy, you know.
No, I mean life can be a bit of a nightmare, really, can't it?
It can be hard. It can be hard sometimes, you know. And that was really for me and my wife. Thankfully, it didn't affect our relationship. I don't think.